on digital radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by The Sportscast.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Victor Arocho and Byron Jones. And here's your host, Victor Arocho. Live from Miami Fort Lauderdale and Lancaster, Pennsylvania, actually in Williamsburg, Virginia. We are the Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by the Sportscast. It's November 14th, 2024. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, X, and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online radio. You can follow us on X and Instagram at the Sportscast1. Also, you can go to our website, thesportscast.net, and check out our app, The Sportscast for iOS. This is Santiago Leon. I am not Victor Rocho. He is on a assignment tonight, but we got Byron Jones. How you doing tonight, Byron?
Oh, wonderful. I'm sitting down here in Williamsburg. It's pouring down, raining outside. We haven't had any rain, up north since July. So, it is what it is. But, it's a good time down here.
And we got Papa Paul. It's been a couple of weeks since the hurricane. How you been?
Doing good. Get things cleaned up.
Yeah, things were. I mean, you guys had no power for a couple of days, right? And then.
Yeah, we were without power at our house for 3 days.
Not bad. It
But
could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse for us, but it was real bad right on the coastline for a lot of people.
Yeah, you guys on the West Coast get hit harder than we do in the East lately. I don't know if you've ever been in a hurricane, Mr. Jones.
Well, we had Superstorm Sandy, up here that we went through. And that's probably, most likely the closest I've ever been. But it was bad up here. The taste that we got, I'm glad I live up here and not have to deal with, the things that people go through, down south in the Florida area.
You don't go through blizzards as much up there?
We haven't had snow in the last 3 or 4 years, but when we had them, we had some dudes. I had one where it took me 5 hours to get to work. It normally takes me an hour.
Incredible.
So, every now we get that.
Yeah, the only big storm that I've been through was Hurricane Andrew. I'm not sure Papa Paul remembers those days, but it was back in 1992, and that was probably like the most direct hit I've ever had for a hurricane. So, anyways,
I remember Andrew. It was devastating.
It was bad. It was bad, Byron.
Yeah.
But not as bad as the New York Giants going to Munich, losing against Carolina Panthers 17-20. I think this Giants is not their first international game, but it was definitely a big loss. It was Carolina's back-to-back win for the first time this season. Your thoughts over this game, Mr. Byron? Went to overtime, by the way.
Well, yeah, and the poor kid that was running very well, Tracy, fumbled first time he touched the ball, and that was that. That's probably the last time we'll see Daniel Jones as the starter, on that team, because it was just bad. You could see everything was gonna go south or wherever when he threw the first pass, and it just sailed over top of Malik Neighbors, the first play of the game. And and it's just not only him. The defensive line, can't stop anybody. The corners are bad. It's just a bad team. Him going the flea flicker. That's where I was 2 seconds from turning the TV off. The flea flicker with 3rd and 1. And, everybody's saying that the two guys are open, and they were open, but they didn't look at the other end where he had two people closing in on top of him, but he got blamed for that. And it is what it is. But it's a bad team. Me personally, what I think they should have never lost. The Carolinas, a couple other games that we could have had back, but that was a bad loss. Usually people get fired, behind that, but you can't have two New York guys getting fired coming back from overseas game. You had Salah coming back, get fired, and then Dable come back, get fired. That's just not a good look in New York.
It's the ownership. The ownership, I heard, likes the coach and the GM, and I heard he likes Daniel Jones too.
What I don't understand what they're trying to do. Yeah, and that's not for me to do. They were brought there to fix Daniel Jones. They were trying to get the version of Josh Allen, as close as they could. He's not Allen. He's a different beast, that kid. Their jobs were to bring the best out of him, and I think they failed because we talked about it 1,000 times with the running game, not signing Barkley, not getting a number one receiver, not fixing a line, and there's been a whole bunch of stuff, and they've had 3 years to do it, and it's like, okay, the Detroit, and I'm gonna bring it up again, the Detroit Lions fixed theirs in 3 years, so now the Giants are going 3 years, and now they're gonna get rid of him as quarterback, and they're gonna give him another year or two, whatever Dable if they end up there. But that's on ownership and management. That they're that bad, and it's been 10 years of losing. It's not new. This started with Eli and now with Daniel Jones. So it's what it is.
You don't think it's part? You don't think it's part of Dable's fault?
Good question.
Yeah, because he took over as the OC. He's the OC. He took away play calling from Kafka, and he's calling the plays. It's him. This is on him. As bad as they're trying to scheme up, plays for this, to make plays, and he's missing this, and guys dropping the ball, not catching the ball. They don't establish the run, and the line is all jacked up. He's the head coach. Everything should fall on him. But you have Shane and Dable are joined at the hip. So if you fire one, you got to fire both and start all over again.
And I was going to say, do you think that'll happen, or?
Well, the ownership says they won't get rid of them until next year. At the earliest.
Well, next year could be January 1st.
Right.
Does that mean Black Monday next year?
No.
It very well could be.
I mean,
I think they're going to give this guy.
Go ahead.
I think they're going to give him an opportunity to get the quarterback that he wants. That's what everybody up in New York, up here. When you go on the different fans things, with the Giants stuff, they're killing Daniel Jones. I mean, I go back to Phil Simms. They beat him into the ground, and when Eli, with him, and then but the difference is when those guys won, they won, and then everybody let them out. Got up off of him. But Daniel, he's never stood a chance, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Just not being surrounded with he had Barkley. The offensive line stinks. No receivers, and it's just bad. And if that falls on a coach and Shane, who said he was going to come in and fix, the old way that the Giants did stuff, as far as drafting players and evaluating players, and it's just a mess.
And he has a bad neck and a bad knee.
You kind of sort of, that the injuries are the result of them not blocking, or the one time the knucklehead ran and hurt his neck. When I don't know what he was thinking of when he did that. He's not, he's athletic, but some of the things that he does, he should learn how to slide. He doesn't do that. He goes in head first. In the last couple, tank for Arch. The last couple, games, he's been going, full steam, and it's just weird that the poor guy, I've liked him, since they drafted him. I'm a Giant guy, I'm a Giant fan, and that's just what you're supposed to just love. That's who you brought to the party. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, but I can't take it anymore because some of the things he does, he has a way.
But going back to this graphic, tank for Archie hiring. When is he eligible? Is he eligible until next year?
No, 26. People don't realize His both his uncles stayed in school 4 years. You don't think with the NIL money that he's
Oh,
getting,
yeah.
he's probably one of the top 5 high paid kids in the NFL. In the,
He's getting
might as
paid
well
in the
say
millions,
not the
probably.
NFL, but college. How much?
He's probably getting paid in like the millions somewhere.
Like 2 million, 2 or 3, whatever he's getting. So let me think about this.
There's no
I
rush.
can stay at Texas, learn as much as I can, be the guy next year, when Ewers leaves and goes wherever the NFL when he goes. Or I can I don't think he should go to the Giants because it would be too much. The Manning
Well, right now
game.
the Giants have the number 1 draft pick right now.
He's not coming out. He's not coming out this year. It'll be next year. So the knuckleheads that that are on all these different fan sites. That's what they want to do. Tank this year, tank next year, and get all these picks, and then pick him, in 2026. He's not going anywhere. He's not. I wish people would stop, man. The kid's making millions of dollars in school. Why would he leave Texas to come up here and get abused? Why would you do it? No.
Look what happened to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Papa Paul, what do you think should happen? I mean,
I don't see him going to New York. I don't know where he's going. I just don't see him going to New York, really. Not unless they have they have to do something different in order to get him. I just don't see it.
Well, Hiram Jones did bring up this situation. This week, Giants have a bye week, so it is a good time to make the decision. Should you sit out quarterback Daniel Jones? Because if he's injured by March of next year, they owe him $23 million guaranteed. So should they sit out Jones and start in Drew Lock?
That's another thing that people were talking about, as far as being Giant fans, that they should wrap him in, the bubble wrap right now, wrap him up, and sit him down, for the rest of the year. That he's done, and either start. Everybody wants Tommy Cutlets, to come out there to see what he can do because people already know what Drew Lock can do. He's not a good, they got him for insurance in case he got hurt. So what are you going to do? He's not the future. So you might as well go ahead with the other kid and bring a little excitement because just wait for this. The Giants play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. So you're going to have Tommy Cutlets or Drew Lock against Cooper Rush on Thanksgiving Day. That is going to be a wonderful game. Oh my!
That's going to be a close game,
God,
actually. I'm thinking about
killing me. They both stink. I don't know which one is worse.
Papa Paul, should they sit out Daniel Jones?
I don't see why they shouldn't, really. I mean, they need to sit him out, basically. He's not helping anything.
They play Tampa when they come back, guys, on November 24th. I think Mike Evans should be back by then and Chris Godwin.
I thought Godwin is out for.
Oh, yeah,
forever.
Yeah. My apologies. Mike Evans should be back. So I know you like it, right, Byron?
Yeah, he's balled out for years. That was 8, 9 years, or however long he's been at Tampa. He's been a great receiver since he's gotten it. 1,000 yards every year, and I'm sure Baker Mayfield needs another weapon. It's going to be him, and I'm sure Giants are going to get torched by him too. Even though he's been sitting out. So because our corner Tay Banks stinks, he's the number 1 pick. He's terrible. He's terrible. So he can't cover anybody. He couldn't even cover me probably. But Mike Evans is going to have a field day, against that secondary.
Quite something. Let's go to this other NFC East game. Jalen Hurts threw for 2 touchdown passes and ran for a pair of scores, and the Eagles rolled to a 34-6 victory over the humbling Cowboys on Sunday. In the first game since Prescott tore a hamstring, which he's out for surgery. He's out for the season. I've never seen Cowboys this bad, Byron, ever in my life. You have a longer history than I do. What did you see in that matchup?
A train wreck. You know, they're a mess. You know, they tried it out. You know, Cooper Rush. He had a pretty good record. You know, as far as winning, he was 5-1. You know, as far as a starting quarterback. So that's not bad. So you figured that with C.D. Lamb and a couple of whoever the other weapons they have now, that they'd be able to do something. But their defense is terrible. The interior defensive line, they spent a number one pick on, a defensive lineman, and I don't even know this guy plays. Michael Parsons, came back, and he
has a podcast.
Yeah, he should have a podcast. He goes in there, blasts, his own guys and the head coach and everything. And I thought you really weren't supposed to do that, where you disrespect, the head coach on your podcast. Yeah, I understand. Okay, you got a podcast, got hundreds of thousands of viewers or whatever you have, but to kind of sort of backhand your coach is not a good thing, especially with Jerry Jones. Probably, I think he's only signed for 1 year, McCarthy. So he could walk away.
One more year left.
I'm not sure.
Mike McCarthy, his last. I think. He has this season. That's it. He's a lame duck coach.
Yeah, he could just walk away if he wanted to. Yeah, but he doesn't have to worry about getting fired. Just don't re-sign with them. Just go, because they're a mess. They really, and he's another one that took over the play calling, and
it's not working. You know what I've been hearing? Bill Belichick is up in the running for that job next season.
I'm gonna be quiet with that one.
What do you think, Papa Paul?
No, he's gonna stay dating the honeys.
That girl's half his age. She's 24 years old.
You think he cares?
72? He's 72, right?
Yeah, that's 1/3 his age.
Yeah, crap. Holy crap. I think she was a cheerleader for the Patriots, right?
No, I don't think so. He's close to beating, well, not beating, but maybe he wants to stay around long enough to beat Don Shula's record, as far as winning.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons. Yeah,
he needs like 20 games or whatever the number is, to
something
catch up.
Like that.
20 wins,
Shula. And he's gonna have to pick a place that's ready, like kind of sort of ready to win, where
he's not getting any younger.
No, he's 72 years old. So you figure if it's 20 games, that's going to be at least, 2 or 3 seasons?
2 years. At least 2 years at the very minimum.
And that depends. That's depending where he goes. If he's going to a team like the Giants, he would never come back to the Giants, because it'll take him 10 years. It'll take him 10 years, to get 20 games.
And he says he will not go to the Jets either.
Yeah, you figure the way he resigned with the Jets, that probably would be a good idea.
He doesn't like Atlanta,
I quit.
And I think he doesn't like Cleveland either.
It's got to be a place that's ready to win. That they just need to get a coach and just plug him in. That's where he needs to go. He can't. You
don't think Prescott could give him 20 wins in 2 years?
No, not with Jerry Jones hugging over top of his head. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there you have it. Cowboys are probably in a worse shape I've ever seen in my life. They're a little bit better than the Giants, I think, but we'll see what happens. This other game, Russell Wilson is 3-0. Papa Paul, he shook off his first interception in 11 months and hit a trade deadline pickup Mike Williams for a 32-yard touchdown with less than 2.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter for the quarterback's third scoring throw Sunday, beating the Commanders 28-27. Russell Wilson is the real deal in Pittsburgh.
Even a blind hog finds an acorn now and then. I mean, he's any given Sunday, any team can beat another team. I mean, plain and simple. But you got to watch out for the Commanders. They're hot in a lot of ways.
Mr. Jones, what do you think about Russell Wilson and his 3-0 start?
Well, since you're here now, I can backtrack on what I said before. Yeah, I'm on the Russell Wilson train. I done jumped off the Justin Justin Fields bus, and now I'm getting in a train with Russell. Because he was out there cooking. Throwing the deep ball. See the way he drew them guys off sides. At the end of the game. To finish the game the way he did. Yes, I have to go back to the. The Russell Wilson fan club, since Victor's not here.
Yeah, Victor loves Russell Wilson.
I'm going to join the club now. I'm in. The club
So another loss for Jaden Daniels, but he'll come back tonight, which we'll predict the game. The biggest game on Thursday night, probably, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The Finns, Tua's first win back, beating the Rams 23-15. Miami's gritty 23-15 victory over the Rams demonstrated to Miami key players that they still might have a shot to make something out of this year trying. Papa Paul, your thoughts over this matchup? Huge win in LA.
Huge win in LA. We do have the number one ranked defense right now. So that's a big plus for us. One of the duds of the game was Tua's tackling technique.
Yeah, I saw that.
Man,
I tell you what, Calais Campbell just goes to show why he's still in the league for 17 plus years. And as he said, I think he'll be back next year too. He plans on playing until the wheels fall off.
Wow.
He was the one outside with Tyreek Hill at the car situation.
Yeah.
The car
you see the cops didn't mess with him as big as he is.
6'8", 311 pounds.
Yeah.
I've seen guys like that in law enforcement. Yeah, you got to think twice about it. It's like, yeah, that probably would be a good idea.
Calais Campbell came from Alabama, right?
Miami. The U, man. Come on, man.
My bad. The U. He's a local.
Don't mess that up.
And I think he's going to be back next year, too. We only have a 1-year contract on him, but I think he'll be back next year.
Byron, your thoughts over the game? Did you see it? And what'd you think?
I had to turn it after I saw Tua with that tackling thing. And I'm sitting there looking out. As soon as I saw that, I just he's done. And I turned the TV. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep. I'm like,
yeah, everybody was cringing on that.
I remember years ago, this is before you, well, not you, Papa Paul, but they had a guy, the kicker for San Diego, Ralph Panershka, that he had like some kind of surgery with his stomach or something he had where he would kick the ball off, and then as soon as he kicked, he would head straight to the sideline. I don't know why Daniels doesn't tell Tua, if you throw an interception, head for the sidelines. There's no reason for him to even attempt to try to make a tackle. Just get off the field and we'll worry about it later on. That's what he should have done. But it looked bad. I just knew he was done.
Well, he had what kind of tackling technique was that? I mean, just throw your head into his knee? I mean, come on.
I don't know what he was saying. Because he kind of, and you figure he threw his shoulder, his arm, his head. He had all this stuff, exposed. And it's like,
yes,
dude, that's he could have hurt his shoulder, he could have hurt his arm, he could have hurt his the most important is head, and I don't know. I know I've never taught anybody to tackle with your head, to duck down and do that. I don't know where he got that from. And my bit of advice for him in the future is, you throw an interception, head to the sideline, let the other guys go get him. Just head to the sidelines, get out the way.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Paul, how do you see Tua since he's come back?
Something's different about him. The first 2 games he was in, it seemed like the same Tua from last year. But since he's been back, there's something different about him. And coming up this Sunday, we play the Raiders, and I mean, I know the Raiders aren't doing any better than the Giants or anything, but
or the
to
Cowboys.
see that we were actually 7.5-point favorites right off the bat, it was kind of shocking to me because we've not had a great year, but I think it's because of our defense right now more than anything. This last game, he did some things this last game that was just unlike. Well, I think he was just in awe on how much time he had to hold the ball, really. Because in the past few years, you never seen him hold the ball as long as he was holding it this game.
Do you think the Rams are a worthy opponent?
Any NFL team's a worthy opponent. Because any NFL team can beat another NFL team on any given Sunday.
True.
Are they a top contender? No. Are they mid-grade? I would say probably mid-grade. I don't see us as a top contender right now. We still have work to do.
You don't think Dolphins will make the playoffs this season?
That's questionable. If they can keep the discipline like they did this last game, we only had one flag on us this last game. If they can keep that discipline in there like they did this last game, I think we can make the playoffs.
What do you think about that, Mr. Jones, Byron?
Let's see. Coming out the East, what do you got? Buffalo Bills, definitely.
Yeah, they're 8-2, I think.
The Jets are finished. Miami, and who else is
And
it?
In New England, just beat Chicago.
New England's done. So yeah, it could be them. Miami and.
Right now, we're only one game behind the Broncos for the wild card.
And the Broncos just lost against the Chiefs.
Does Miami play the Bills again this year?
No, we've already played them twice.
And we lost twice.
Yeah.
And
I think we can squeeze that wild card spot out because there's a lot of bad teams in the AFC this year.
Yeah, like the Raiders, which you guys played this weekend.
Yeah. And then the following weekend we played New England.
That should be good. But yeah,
and they're
we'll see what happens.
They're both home games, so
Kevin Tyree said they're gonna go undefeated for like 9-0 or something, Byron.
Yeah, he did. He said 11-6. That's what he said. They're gonna fit.
That would be wonderful. I would love it, but I just don't see it. There's a couple games I'm a little insecure about.
Well, who do they play the rest of the year? Anybody know?
We have Green Bay. Well, after New England, we have a very short week. We have Green Bay Thanksgiving night at Green Bay. Then we have I forget who we're playing. No, then we have 10 days from that, which would be the Jets after that. That's a home game. That's the 8th. Then the 15th, I think the 15th is the Browns. Then the 49ers, which is our last home game on the December 22nd. Then I forget who we play on the 29th. And then our last game of the year is the Jets in Jet Stadium.
A weak New York Jets with no energy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's Aaron. Rodgers. Lets those guys show up or whatever.
The two games I'm a little bit concerned about really is going to be the 49ers and Green Bay.
That's something else. Saul Winter said that Brian Flores wanted Jordan Love instead of Tua for that draft that year. Is that true?
I have no idea. He did not want Tua, is all I could tell you.
Yeah, and he spoke this week that he wants to be head coach again, Brian Flores.
No, more power to him.
He still has that lawsuit going out there, so yeah, it's going to be kind of hard.
He's still suing the Giants?
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, well, and he sued the NFL, like the whole getting good
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
but
I think it's the
I think they
NFL and somebody else. There's two things.
I think they settled, I believe. I believe they settled a bit. So,
If he hadn't
anyways,
said this things he said about Tua, and then stuff with the Giants, maybe he get another job. I don't think he's gonna get another job. They're gonna bring him in for interviews, but he ain't getting the job. I'd be surprised if he did.
yeah, he's a
Yeah.
liability.
Yeah, because I mean, no one's going to bring in a man that could possibly turn around and sue you for something that he doesn't like you doing or something.
That's correct.
Eh,
Sticking with Miami. Go ahead, Byron. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
All right. Coach Mike McDaniel ignores a former player, Deshaun Elliott, calling the Dolphins soft. Papa Paul, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I do know Tater Co. who ripped into him. Ripped into him hard. I didn't expect something like that from Elliott. Really, I've met the man. I talked with him. So if he thinks we're soft, that's his opinion.
Byron, what do you think about former players calling their former team soft? You saw one former player from the Giants called Jones a doo-doo head. What do you think about this?
Man. Let's see. I'm looking at what this guy, and like he's played. You figure he's been with, I guess the Ravens. He played with, so he's probably got like a lot of experience. As far as going against Miami or whatever. But you usually try to keep them comments to yourself. Why would you go out there, in the news media and say something like that about another team, especially somebody you're going to play against? Since he's with the Steelers.
Yeah, he was on our team last year. That he was the one who made that contact hit with Mahomes where it cracked his helmet in the playoff.
Okay. Yeah, he needs to keep it comments. He's not, the guy. If he was the guy, then he could get away with it, but he's not.
Yeah,
He's just a guy. An NFL player.
And he said it during a podcast. So these podcasts are stirring a lot of noise. I mean, like one thing about these podcasts, I don't like when current players have one. I think that's a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah, especially when like a couple weeks ago when what's his name, Micah Parsons, named all the top 10 quarterbacks and then put his own guy, in there, as a top 10. You don't think that's going to create a little tension in the locker room that your own guy doesn't believe in you?
What do you think about this, Papa Paul?
No, I agree. It is a distraction. It's a lot of work, first of all, and you should be concentrating on the game itself, not on podcasts.
Yeah, I do know that Tom Brady had his podcast Let's Go on Sirius XM. You got the Kelsey brothers have a podcast. One of them is still playing. So it's a little bit of distraction. Also NBA players as well. Green has one as well. So I think it's a distraction, but who am I? Chicago Bears got rid of their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. The Bears have got rid of 2 offensive coordinators in the past year. This is after the loss against the Patriots this past weekend. Head coach Eberflus actually predicted, yes, like there will be some changes going on. This is the same Bears team that interviewed Cliff Kingsbury in the offseason, but went with Shane Waldron instead. Byron Jones, what's your thoughts over this? What's going on? Caleb Williams looks pretty disturbed. Bad.
He thought, that he was going to come in and, light up the world, came from USC and, making all these demands prior, to, the NFL draft. And come to find out, man, this guy is not that good at all. They loaded up the team, with, receivers and running back and tight end, and they did all this stuff, and he's just bad. And just wait until the winter, the winter kicks in Chicago, and it's cold up there, and he's trying to throw that ball that's like a brick, and and the head coach, he's like on thin ice anyway, because they went out and they got the guy, and they're not doing very well, at all with him. So then you got the scapegoat. Let's see, you can't fire yourself, but you can fire the OC 1 or 2 or whatever, to fix him. But ultimately, the problem is Caleb Williams. He's just not playing very well at all.
Paul, how do you see the Bears with Caleb Williams, and now with this getting rid of Shane Waldron as the offensive coordinator?
It's a shame. You got to give everybody a chance. I believe a lot of these teams should look at how the Green Bay Packers do things, where they bring someone in and they're sitting on the bench for 2, 3, 4 years behind the quarterback, learning everything and building up scenarios of their own play instead of just getting thrown right in there. But that's my opinion.
Quite something, Chicago. Is it an organizational issue? Because, hey, same thing happened to Justin Fields, could not progress in Chicago. Mitch Trubisky couldn't progress. The last good quarterback Chicago ever had was, I forgot his name. He played for the Dolphins, too. Starts with an F. Let me pull it up. But is it an organizational issue, Mr. Jones?
Yes, it is. Because, now, like with Caleb, they set him up to succeed. Justin Wilson, they didn't. They didn't have the weapons around him, that this kid had. And even when you go back to Trubisky, it was the same thing, with that. They just, they piecemeal it. We'll get this guy. We'll sign this guy. We'll get this guy. And I was looking at something today. I think the Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer, ever.
I have heard that too.
It's kind of hard to believe that, that an organization that's been around that long has never had that, dominant quarterback. Even when Jim McMahon was there, he wasn't the dominant throw it down the field kind of guy. And I'm thinking it might be just an organization that, they're like the Giants. They just goof up things. And, don't pick the right guy. Don't, do this. I'm not high, Kingsbury. But was it more that they didn't want him, or he just didn't want that job?
That's a good question, because Kingsbury's doing fantastic in Washington right now.
Yeah. With Daniels, and with him, for a second, they're putting Daniels in position to succeed. They went out and got the receivers. They got a good running game. They fixed the offensive line. I think they got the Commanders got 35 new guys or whatever they got on the team. But yeah, I think it's an organizational thing with Chicago where they're just not setting these guys up, to succeed. It's just they can just keep falling on their face, and ultimately the head coach is probably going to get fired after this year.
Eberflus. Jay Cutler was that last good quarterback the Bears had, who also played for Miami, right, Papa Paul?
Yeah.
Those were good years, Chicago Bears.
Well, it's funny because we've cut players that end up doing great on other teams, and sometimes they just don't work out for that team system.
Correct. That one guy that went to the Browns, that wide receiver, he had a fantastic season that year.
No, I mean, of course, we had, he's one of our coaches now, but he was the best thing going for us, and we traded him off, Wes Welker.
Wow. And also the Lions coach used to coach with Miami. Dan Campbell.
Yeah. We didn't hold on to him, which we should have.
He went to the Saints afterwards, I think, and then to Detroit.
Either way, we still should have held on to him.
Some say he wasn't ready at the time.
No, but you got to give these people at least 3 years sometimes, especially a head coach, And that's why, some of us are really critical of McDaniels this year because there's a lot of things he still hasn't fixed.
Some
Yeah,
say
but
he's
you have
handcuffed with
like,
Tua.
yeah,
What was that?
He's handcuffed with Tua, meaning that he doesn't do well without Tua, but with Tua he does do great. Is that like
Yeah,
how they
but he's got to be able to do great with no matter who's in there. He's got a backup quarterback that doesn't need to be a backup quarterback, and he should be able to coach no matter who the quarterback is, not just Tua.
But that was like one of the mistakes Miami did. They did not bring a decent QB2 to the system.
We had 4 different starting quarterbacks this year.
I know, including Snoop
yeah.
Huntley.
Yeah.
Byron, what's the problem with Miami?
Tua keeps getting hurt all the time. That's the biggest issue. You
Yeah.
don't know. You're like rolling the dice, man. Every time you roll them out in the field, like as a head coach, you're like, please don't let him get hurt. Please don't let him hurt. And I'm sure that plays in his mind where when they're calling plays, certain things that they don't want him rolling out. They might don't want to get hurt. They don't want to get the ball out of his hand, and just little things that you're thinking in your head as a coach that I don't want nothing, to be that guy that he drops back and he gets creamed because of something I called or whatever. But it's just weird, that they play well with him, and then when he's not there, they got they go like musical quarterback, 2, 3, 4 different quarterbacks, and they need to find that guy, like a second guy, or draft one to mold him, to be, the number 2 or something. But every time you roll 2 out there, just like a crapshoot, you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, that's one of the big problems. The other one I feel is McDaniel's play calling. He needs to let someone else call the plays and just be the head coach.
Yeah, that kind of works out better when a coordinator does the play calling, right, Byron?
It depends on the coach. Like what's his name, Andy Reid. Look what he calls. Plays and has for years, and has never been an issue. But when they
he's also a seed.
He's.
I was going to say Andy Reid's a seasoned coach, where McDaniel's still a rookie.
Yeah, but
he's only 39 years old.
When the Dolphins signed him, when the Dolphins signed McDaniels as their head coach, what was the reason why they went after him? Was it was his play calling?
He's a good play designer.
Well, he is a good play designer, but he's very reluctant to give up on something when something's not working. He wants to try and keep pushing it until it does work, and it doesn't work.
He's also not a good he's not a good disciplinary guy, right? Is that
no? He's more of a friend than a disciplinary.
That's not good, right, Byron?
You can't be that. You can't be their buddies and be their coach at the same time. I understand a lot of those guys are making more money than he is, and I get that part. But you can't be their buddy. Hey, this is my guy. But there's a line you don't cross because you can't discipline the guy. If hey, this is my pal, whatever. Then he does something crazy, and you don't do anything about it. And everybody else sees that you're favoring this guy, and it doesn't help the whole team overall.
Yeah.
You can't be having movie night at your coach's house. Anyways,
No.
Victor always brings up the backup quarterback, Joe Flacco, probably the best backup quarterback ever. Well, anyways, he was started this past 2 weeks. The Colts coach Hine said that he'll keep Flacco for the rest of the season. Turned out to be, after losing 2 games. Back to Anthony Richardson. Actually, Anthony Richardson, who said he was tired after the 3rd quarter. Byron, what's going on in Indianapolis? I'm tired.
I'm hoping that's a one-time thing, with him, and then now because he's very talented, and he had the chance to see a real pro, operate the offense, and some of the things that Flacco does for that organization, and probably by like sitting him the last 2 weeks, he's been able to watch the game and just see how it should be run, and not if I get tired and tap out, and maybe he's learned his lesson as far as that's concerned.
He should have said that he got his wind knocked out of him.
Or he should have just laid in the ground. Just laid there. He should have just dropped it, just stayed there.
Yeah.
Bubba Paul, you wish Joe Flacco came to Miami, but he was in Indianapolis. What do you think about Richardson switching back to the starting role?
Well, if they're going to go with him, he needs to play all 4 quarters, not be tired after 3. Plain and simple.
He needs to get himself trained up for that.
I mean, you're NFL quarterback. There is no I'm tired after 3 quarters and you call the game.
I can see if he was down in Florida, it's like 900 degrees down there. Your quarterback, you run all over the field down there because he played University of Florida, and down there in that heat down there, you're playing inside or wherever he's
playing. In a dome.
You're playing inside in a dome. That's climate control. You don't have to worry about the rain or humidity or whatever. And for this guy, to tap out, that was a bit much.
By the way, Byron, Detroit can win outdoors, right?
Yes, they did. They proved that by beating Green Bay in the little rain up there. So yes, they can play outside.
That's the thing with these dome teams. It feels like they're really comfortable where they're at.
Yeah.
But when they go to Miami or they go to what's a tough place to play, like up in New England, that's
Buffalo.
That's a Green Bay. But wait until December. We'll see if the Lions can play in the cold in December.
Yeah, let them play Miami. Let them play Miami in the beginning of September.
Oof, that's the worst.
On a 1:00 game.
Have you seen that documentary? How the Dolphins built that stadium for that sunlight to hit the away team?
Well, the stadium was built like that. The roof came later,
right?
So. Yeah, I mean, the sun was going to hit them whether there was a roof or not. They put the roof on, it ends up shading our side the way it ends up falling. So
it was done by design.
Yeah.
Of course. Always.
All right. Another struggling team, the New York Jets. No energy Jets. Aaron Rodgers had a press conference this week. He said that he wants to come back in 2025. He is 40 years old. Papa Paul, he's not as mobile as before, but do you think the Jets will keep him on, or do you think they'll cut him and he'll explore free agency?
I don't think he's going to play. I think it'd be crazy to keep him on, really. He hasn't done anything for him this year. He really hasn't.
The Dolphins.
But I mean, he asked for weapons. They gave him weapons. He asked for this. He asked for that. They gave him everything he wanted, and he hasn't won anything, really.
How about you, Byron? Papa Paul says he does have the weapons. He has Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but for some reason, he just sucked the life out of everybody. Some of the things that, he's done, some of the things he said, as far as he didn't get Salah fired, but he didn't get Salah fired. And, he can still throw the ball. He's not as mobile, as he used to be.
No, he's in the pocket more.
They do have, they got 2 good running backs. They really do, the Jets. And for some reason, they're not trying to run the ball. They want to drop back and throw it 40, 50 times or whatever they're doing. And it's not good. I don't think, knowing him, he might just say, you know what, I ain't coming back next year. And the Jets are going to be, just caught with nothing because they don't have a, backup quarterback. So that means they're going to have to go in the draft too, which they should anyway, and draft a quarterback, and they're going to have to start all over again.
And their defense has struggled since Hala got hired, so it's been different, hasn't it?
Yeah, because now you got like the guy that the one that's the head coach now. I think he calls the defense too. So now you got a interim
Wow.
coach that has to worry about everything else that's going around on the team, and not focus on the defense. He's in charge of everything now, and he just not focusing on the defense and not playing very well at all. They got a lot of talent all between Quincy Williams and his brother, and the linebackers, and they got Sauce Gardner. They're loaded on defense, but for some reason they're just not playing very well on defense either.
And they got Hassan Reddick back.
Who?
Yeah.
I ain't heard of him. He ain't made a splash at all. I ain't heard nothing about that guy since he came back.
Got the contract situation. But there you have it. Papa Paul thinks the Dolphins could beat him easily.
Yeah.
It's a winnable game.
We're gonna sweep the Jets this year again, just like we did last year.
It looks like winnable, and that could definitely help the Dolphins to get that wild card spot. Anyways, tonight is a big game. Commanders at the Eagles. But before we head into the predictions, we got a word from our sponsors. Are you ready to accelerate your wealth and secure your family's legacy? Introducing VictorRocho.com, your cash acceleration insurance expert. At VictorRocho.com, we bring accountability to wealth creation inspired by Proverbs 13:22. Your family's financial future matters to us. Experience the power of debt-free life, our innovative insurance solution that not only protects but builds cash value over time. As your cash value grows, say goodbye to debt incrementally and watch your savings soar for a worry-free retirement, all without spending any extra money. With debt-free life, you're not just securing your future, you are creating a lasting legacy for your family, achieving financial freedom and retiring with tax-favored income. Visit VictorRocho.com for more information. That's VictorRocho.com, where accountability meets prosperity. Your greatest asset is you. Byron, where should people go to get their financial advice at?
Mr. Victor Rocho.
He is on assignment tonight. He'll be back next week for a pre-Thanksgiving show. He'll definitely, he'll definitely talk to us about that, but also about the Giants and see if they could tank for something. All right, prediction tonight. These might be the NFC East two best teams. The crown jewel tonight, Commanders at Eagles. Byron, what's your prediction and who do you got?
I got the Commanders because I hate the Eagles because they got number 26. I can't say his name. Commanders 28-21.
28-21 in Philadelphia, by the way. That's a tough place to play.
It doesn't matter. They've been all drunk up since they've been sitting at that party in the parking lot since 7 o'clock this morning.
Papa Paul, who do you have in Philadelphia? Commanders at the Eagles.
Yeah, thinking about it, I like the Eagles. I like that young quarterback at the Eagles, and I mean at Commanders. I'm sitting here reading the Eagles, the Commanders, and I'd say it's going to be 27-24.
Commanders. All right, got it. I think the Eagles are going to win. The offense runs through Saquon Barkley, right, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, as long as they run the ball, let Kellen Moore, call the plays and not Nick Sirianni put his 2 cents in, or Big Dom, take over. Yes, everything runs through Mr. Saquon, number 26.
Number 26. No name. All right,
No
Texans at the Cowboys. Texas rivalry here. Houston Texans did not have a good game against Detroit. Well, they did, but they blew it. And the Cowboys are blowing it every game. Papa Paul, who do you have in this matchup?
Texans. I'm a C.J. Stroud fan. Texans all the way.
Season. Yeah, not having the best season, but winning ugly.
No, they're not the best season, but they're winning, and I'm still a C.J. Stroud fan. I'm going to say it's going to be something like 30-21.
That sounds about right. And Mr. Byron,
The Texans and a blowout. That ain't even gonna be close. 35-7. They're gonna run it up, right there in Jerry World.
how many passing yards Cooper Rush will have?
99.
Oh man, those Cowboys. All right, and finally Raiders at the Dolphins. Papa Paul, who do you have? Your prediction, scoreline, all the above.
Well, you know who I'm going to have, of course. I can't go against my team. It's going to be the Dolphins. It's at home. And we're going to score more points this game than we've had any game this year, which hasn't been much. But I say it's going to be 35-21.
What do you want to see more in this game? You want to see more Waddle, more Tyreek, more Tua throwing the ball? Like, what do you want to see in this game?
I want to see more Jalen Wright.
What do you think about Jonnu Smith's performance?
I love him. He's on my fantasy league.
Me too. He's in my time in my team. Mr. Byron Jones, you are related to the Raiders. You like that head coach. Going to Miami. A little warm. It's warm right now. It's 86 degrees usually. Who do you have?
Ooh, yeah, that's a little toasty. And Antonio Pierce might be on thin ice out there. So, Dolphins 28-14.
The way to 14. Do you think he might be out, Antonio Pierce, eventually?
What's his name? That owners they have out there, and as bad as they've looked, they didn't. The quarterback, the offense, they're a mess.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Aiden Hutchinson not doing good. Yeah, quite something. Do you think there'll be more hirings this season from any other team?
No, not really. No. At the end of the year, yeah, it's gonna be that Monday is gonna be a bad Monday. But right now, unless they really screw it up real bad.
Yeah. Maybe the Raiders. That's all I could think of right now. But not even.
Usually after a bye week. So if they have a bye week coming up, that's when they'll get fired.
Yeah, we'll see. Or sit a starting quarterback. So a starting quarterback like Daniel Jones. So well, there you have it. Jersey Boy Sports Talk. Papa Paul, what is the best way to reach you online? And also, yeah, go ahead, Byron.
Oh, you forgot the Tyson Paul fight this weekend.
Yes, Jake Paul versus Mike
Tyson.
Yeah,
Tyson.
Iron Mike.
Papa Paul, who do you have?
I got to go with the Tyson. Sorry, I know what the man can do.
Byron, thank you for bringing that up. Who do you have for that fight?
I got Iron Mike, man. Even though they're wearing a Guardian cap and they're gonna wear 2 pillows on their hand, yeah, I still wouldn't want to mess around with Mike Tyson.
What was your favorite fight in the past by Mike?
All of them up until he lost to Buster Douglas. All of his other fights before Buster Douglas, yeah, he was a beast. Buster Douglas, that just, that was bad.
My favorite fight was the Evander Holyfield fight with Mike Tyson.
What, when he bit his ear?
The one before that, not that one. That one ended in 2 seconds, right, Papa Paul?
Yeah.
What was your favorite fight from Mike Tyson?
I liked them all. I mean, he was a beast, and he just had his problems, but it is what it is. He's going to take this one no problem, I think.
Now he's a 52-year-old. Wait, he's 52 or 58?
58. Yeah. Wow.
What was that favorite line? His one, like one of his has quotes. You have everything planned right until someone punches you, or something.
Right in the mouth. Yep.
Right in the mouth.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. Big weekend in sports. A lot going on. NFL. We got Mike Tyson's for Jake Paul tomorrow night on Netflix. You can watch it for $15 subscription. And we'll have Victor back. He'll probably be watching the fight. Papa Paul, what's the best way to reach you? And also about your show. You guys stream like 18 times a week, I hear.
4 times a week. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. until whenever. Saturdays from 6 to 7. Sunday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mondays from 5 to 6 p.m. WCFL Dolphins Talk on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find Facebook. It's under WCFL. Well, it's actually underneath my name because you can't stream to clubs anymore on Facebook. So it's under my name, Paul E. Ferguson.
Paul Ferguson. And Byron, I know you're not on social, but if they see you in person, they can say hi to you, right?
Yeah, they can wave at me.
That's it. How's the coaching? You're coaching this fall?
Yeah, we finished 5-5 football's done, and now it's time to take a break. That's why I'm sitting in Williamsburg, because the 10, 11-year-old kids for 3 months, yeah, I need a break.
How's Eric Winter's kid? He's doing well in football?
Yo, his kid is great, man. His kid's like, his little E, man, is like 8 years old, man. His dad teaches him all the stuff, that the high school kids do, and watching him do it at 8, man, and beating up on them other kids, it was great. I loved every second of it. And his son does wear the Guardian cap.
Interesting. We could see more future generation of players wearing that more.
Well, you see that Achan wears it all the time now.
I heard about that, yeah. Incredible.
And I've been noticing more and more players on other teams. At least one player on just about every team has it on.
All right, guys.
It's too soft, man. Too soft.
They used to hit harder back in the day. Anyways.
And with them cheap helmets on, too.
Yep.
Rubber helmets. You can reach us at thesportscast.net. And on the X, the Sportscast 1, Facebook, the Sleon Sports, and the Jersey Boys will be back next week. Hiring what time next week? 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have Victor back on next week. He'll talk about a lot of slew of things. And anyways, Papa Paul, Byron Jones, I appreciate you coming on to the Jersey Boys. Peace.